So, if you're anything like me, you think Red Eyes is the coolest out of the big three, and you're more than subtly attracted to Dark Magician Girl.
What?
Well, when I learned about the Time Wizard formats like GOAT and Edison, where I could pretend my childhood card game was still a children's card game, I just about creamed my pants. All that to say, when I learned about the Speed Duel format, I was excited. Let's take a step back from snorting G Fuel before a game and T-Set pass with a glass of whiskey on rocks, you know? And on top of this, you could buy one box for $19.99 and have 8 playable decks to roleplay your favorite anime character with your friends. And don't get me started on the card quality of those secret rares. That's sparkle vomit that you just have to see in person to do it justice. Like, this was good. Cheap Yu-Gi-Oh with a low barrier to entry? They must have hired a genius or something. Yet we recently got an end of product announcement for Speed Duel. So what actually happened here? I want to start by saying that Konami specifically mentioned the initial Speed Duel saga will be concluding, subtly implying that there is a possibility for a comeback in the future. But to be blunt, I think the odds are low for the time being, mainly because Midterm Destruction was a North American only release, so the card pool is divided depending on the country you're in, and we stopped at a power level right before Synchros. Konami seems to be treading similar ground with each Speed Duel release. We're on our 3rd Battle City box, but Max C is in the format for whatever reason. It really does seem like the Synchro mechanic is the next step forward. I know a lot of people, including myself, are die-hard Synchro fans, but not all Time Wizard players like the same mechanics. Some people are GOAT only players, and Synchros were a turnoff for them. They were a clear design shift which changed Yu-Gi-Oh forever, and are still divisive among the player base. The real issue Konami faces is that there are a lot of Speed Duel players that just don't want to play with Synchros. On top of that, over time, power creep is inevitable, especially in Yu-Gi-Oh with no set rotations, and they can't just keep printing cards at the same power each set. Like I said, we're on our 3rd Battle City box, and obviously they knew they had to take a step back because I'm not sure people would be willing to buy a 4th. Although the most popular Time Wizard format by far is Edison, so there is a demand for a synchro heavy format. But before I go over the logistical nightmare Speed Duel was, I want to mention part of the reason I think Time Wizard formats are so successful, but Speed Duel wasn't, even if in theory the player base would be similar. Time Wizard formats have the luxury of a stagnant card pool, so the meta can be developed over time and deeply explored. Edison decks are far beyond the Quick Draw Dandy Warrior deck that we saw in 2009, and each year people's deck lists look different. This means you can pick up the level of power you want to play with and stick to it. You like resolving Trinity and dropping BLS? Go play GOAT. You like Caius and Goyo Guardian? Go play Edison. You like Silent Honor Arc? Go play Hat. The issue with Speed Duel is that you won't be happy forever. Eventually, power creep will get to the point where the game isn't where you want it to be anymore.
This needs to stop now.
If a GOAT player wants to play with Synchros, they'll play Edison and then go back.
Wait a minute.
Speed Duel can't have this. Konami needs to sell cards. Case in point, we still have the Speed Duel format in Duel Links, and it's been widely successful. But a very common complaint is that the power creep has gotten out of hand. Skills do more than cards at this point, and we have TCG archetypes like Dragon Link and Sky Striker. This Duel Links is very different than the Duel Links that we had years ago when the Axe Raider was unironically a UR card. People started Duel Links because of the reset in power, and because it was a convenient way to play real Yu-Gi-Oh on your phone that wasn't Yu-Gi-Oh! Bam Pocket. I know I just unlocked memories for some of you. Also, as much as Konami was pushing that Speed Duel is inherently a simplified version of Yu-Gi-Oh!, that's simply just false, because Duel Links is getting very reminiscent of modern Yu-Gi-Oh!, with its main difference in card pool and the skill mechanic. We still have hand traps and end each turn 1 with a board of disruptions. I think Konami actually realizes that Speed Duel isn't just simple Yu-Gi-Oh!, and Duel Links was the guinea pig. With no resource system, this is a unique issue to Yu-Gi-Oh! Itself, and this is why I think Konami introduced Rush Duel, a complete change in rule set that in theory would prevent busted loops because everything is once per turn. Only time will tell if power creep in Rush will be similar to the TCG. Alright, now on to the logistics of Speed Duel and why it failed so hard. You could buy 3 of these Speed Duel boxes and have multiple competitive meta decks for around $60. To you and me, that sounds great, especially with how expensive the TCG is. Even with the points that I raised about power creep, Duel Links is successful, and it's clear that with how popular Time Wizard formats are, Speed Duel should have been a huge success too. But something that sounds too good to be true is probably too good to be true. First of all, most of the target demographic for Speed Duels are people who played in the late 2000s/2010s and put the game down, or people who just wanted a break from the advanced format. These are people who already have a Yu-Gi-Oh collection to some level. So why the fuck did Konami ban cards without the stupid Speed Duel watermark on them? Even if the card was legal in Speed Duel. Like, if you play GOAT format and have a Chaos deck with Relinquished and Breaker the Magical Warrior, you can't actually play those cards in a Relinquished Speed Duel deck. Instead, if you want to play in a tournament, you're forced to buy that $20 box of cards you already own because they have the mark that says Speed Duel on them. The corporate greed is showing, and what's really fucked is that Konami knew the Speed Duel cards were really pretty and the advanced format players would buy the boxes for the secret rares. So to really stick it to us, they made all the cards with the Speed Duel watermark legal in the modern format. Like, where is the logic? This should go both ways. But no, how are they going to make money off a format with vanilla monsters like Hyoze and Ryu that you already have lying around in your bulk pile? Instead of being able to dust off your old binder, take a trip down memory lane and get excited to play cards that you had when you were a kid, Konami ruined it by reselling you the cards you already owned. Fuck your bulk collection, let's double it. The Speed Duel players got screwed, the same people they're marketing the product to. I'm sure, even if TCG cards without the watermark were legal, people would still have bought the boxes with how affordable they were just for the sexy secret rare cards. Konami just needed to market it better and actually take the format seriously. Hell, I have no shame in admitting that I did this for 3 Speed Duel secret rare copies of Dandelion, because it looks good. It's just really sad for me because I love slower Yu-Gi-Oh! And I spend a lot of time engaging with Time Wizard formats. I spent tons of money on Speed Duel, and it actually got me to go to locals every week instead of just playing on a digital client. I love Speed Duel, and it's sad to see it go out this way because it had so much potential. Us Speed Duel players got sacked harder than you did when your opponent opened Trap, Dust Shoot, and Pot of Greed. I guess for the time being, I'll be attending community events for Edison and GOAT instead of anything Konami offers.